Hi friends, host Eric here, host of Talking with Famous People, and the other day I made a video that was about the meaning or lack thereof of the terms extroversion and introversion and how they're misleading. And as often happens, Coneman came in to save the day and provide me the topic for my next video. Coneman says, these labels are too limited, but what you've done here is your usual strategy of looking for imperfections, then throwing the baby out with the bathwater. It's disingenuous and self-promoting. You seem sincere, but maybe you are unaware of your own motives. It's intellectually poor for someone claiming to always be correct. Well, first off, while it might be fair to say that I'm always claiming I'm correct, I never say that I'm always correct. So, regardless, this comment starts off here with a statement that these labels are too limited. And that's what gave me the topic for this video. Of course, what I was saying about those labels is not that they're too limited, it's that they don't have any limits. In other words, you can't conduct any operations with them. And my motives are, I mean, I want to explain things, but it doesn't matter what my motives are. Regardless, it's not disingenuous at all. This is who I am. I've been a debate coach for such a long time. I was a debate coach for such a long time and a debater before that. And obviously, I use language in purposeful ways. And it frustrates me when language is used in what you might call like dissembling ways, right? Like to muddy the waters and make things less possible. So the thing I was saying about extroversion and introversion is they aren't terms that you can operationalize at all. They don't mean anything specific. They aren't limited enough. And so I thought I'd try to explain the idea of using words the way that TI people use words versus the way that, what I would, but it's likely to be, I believe Coneman to be TI polar. He doesn't believe that to be the case, but that's fine. It doesn't really matter. The thing is, this is a good example of what a TI polar person would do with my use of language to conduct operations. But here's a good example of using language to conduct an operation. So let's say we are going to go get fast food, but it's late. We want to get McDonald's, but we're not sure if it's still open. However, it's Friday, so we know In-N-Out is still open. So we use words to conduct an operation. We say, let's go to McDonald's if it's still open, but let's go to In-N-Out if it's not. However, McDonald's and In-N-Out are in the opposite directions from where you are. So now what we've done is we've allowed ourselves to find one particular thing out that allows us to make the determination of what to do and to pursue our course of action. All we have to do is look up if McDonald's is still open. If it's not, we'll go to In-N-Out. Now, this operation we're conducting with language is predicated on a shared definition of the word closed. And we can operationalize the definition of the word closed into a literal physical action we can take to check. In other words, we define closed as if I can go to the McDonald's now and get food successfully from there now, without waiting till morning, then it is open. If I cannot, then it is closed. So we have a shared definition of closed, and because we both understand what closed means, we don't have to set up the definitions of what we're doing with this operation. But it is predicated, the success of the operation is predicated on us having a shared definition of closed, which is also shared with McDonald's and shared with, the internet telling us whether it's open or not. Now, let's say I conducted a category error and I instead tried to conduct this operation by saying, we'll go to McDonald's if it's extroverted, but if McDonald's is introverted, we'll go to In-N-Out. Now, in that situation there, we can't conduct any operation, right? We can't find out if McDonald's is introverted or extroverted. The other person doesn't know what we mean. If we claim that McDonald's is introverted, they don't know what we mean. If we claim McDonald's is extroverted, they don't know what we mean. They do know by our claim, if I say it's extroverted, that we're going to go to In-N-Out. Because I've said, if McDonald's is introverted, we'll go there. But if it's extroverted, we'll go to In-N-Out. So they know if I say it's extroverted that I think we should go to In-N-Out. But they don't know what that means, what that status means, and there's no way we can mutually check it. There's no way we can go to McDonald's and find out if it's introverted or extroverted by conducting a single action, because we don't even agree on what we're supposed to be evaluating at all in order to determine the course of action we're going to take. So the thing is, there are plenty of things in life for which you do not need to operationalize definitions. You don't need to use words that have operationalized definitions. If I'm telling you about my feelings and I'm explaining that I feel sad, you have a general sense of what I mean, but you'll note that it doesn't preclude me from also saying that I'm happy. I have mixed emotions. It's fine, because those kind of subjective matters, words about them, they're just used to indicate shared experience to the other person. So you know what it's like to experience sadness. I'm experiencing sadness. So you're just going to understand what I'm experiencing via your own experience of something equivalent. We can guess what something equivalent is because we'll both call sadness something that occurs when you lose something precious to you, for example. So the key point is we don't really need to conduct any operations with those things, because a person can say they're sad, and we might understand that to mean something experientially, but it doesn't prescribe any particular course of action for us, and it doesn't preclude them from saying, I'm also happy, or anything else, right? So what I'm saying, Coneman and everyone else, is that cognitive functions is a matter that we ought to use words operationally about, because it makes real distinctions about human personality, because I believe in it. I believe that human personality is real, that in fact attentional manners and the configuration thereof, described basically by Jung and elaborated many times by many people in various ways, that concept is correct if rendered correctly, and that correctness is better when you have something that's subject to correctness than vagaries. So anybody might be correct about saying cognitive functions makes me feel this way or that way, and everybody can be correct. And it doesn't matter if Tom says cognitive functions makes me feel sad, Eric says cognitive functions makes me feel angry, Bob says cognitive functions make me feel happy, or Coneman says cognitive functions are how I paint a picture of myself that I like. But I'm going to end this video here by simply pointing out the following. Even if Coneman and I disagree about whether or not cognitive functions ought to be treated as the operationalized definition kind of thing, or as the I'm feeling sad kind of thing, right? We might disagree about whether it ought to be treated as one or the other of those things. But what we ought not do is what Coneman does here and say, it's disingenuous and self-promoting of me. No, I genuinely believe that we should use words properly and carefully and rigorously in this area of conversation, right? In this topic area. That we can do meaningful work that explains things philosophically to people. That in fact, it can be something that eventually will have empirical tests that validate or falsify explanations of functions, because it'll become something that you can have multiple angles of validation from, such that it cross-checks, It's not there yet. But the idea that I'm disingenuous in my advocacy here regarding cognitive functions, or that it's self-promoting for me to engage in an ongoing process of parsing things rigorously and, pointing out that these terms don't really mean anything. You can't operationalize them to conduct any operation, introversion and extroversion, on personality stuff, not just on McDonald's. That's what I'm saying. To claim that that's disingenuous is ridiculous. To claim that it's self-promoting is insane. I obviously am terrible at self-promotion. I don't ever say like this video, subscribe. I don't do SEO on my videos. I hashtag things randomly sometimes. I am absolutely terrible at self-promotion. And the idea that I'd be motivated by self-promotion, I wish I were. And if I were, that would be fine. This is a YouTube channel. But it's absolutely not the case about me, and you have to be fucking insane to make that claim.